podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Ting.com. Ting is a new mobile phone service that makes sense. Save money with Ting. Pay for what you use, doesn't require a contract, and offers unlimited devices on one pooled plan. To save $25 on your first Ting device, visit allaboutandroid.ting.com. That's allaboutandroid.ting.com. Hello and welcome to another episode of All About Android, episode 110, recorded on Tuesday, May 21st, 2013. We are your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps, and a little bit of Google I.O. thrown in there for good measure with the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell, and we have with us...
I'm Gina, as in GIF, for Penny.
Yes, I like that, by the way. That's I'm going to remember it for going forward because of that.
I'm just trolling the whole internet about that.
I know, right? We also have Ron calling from the airport.
Yes, from an undisclosed location in San Francisco International Airport. I am dedicated to the show. I figured I would Skype in before I flew to London tonight. So.
Excellent. Well, we are stoked to have you. We're also thrilled to welcome back to the show once again, Phil Nickinson, editor at Android Central, and just all-around good guy. Phil, it's awesome having you back.
You're only saying that because I tried to buy you dinner the other night.
That's true. That is the only reason I'm saying that. But, you didn't end up buying me dinner, so why am I still saying this?
No, I'm just a mediocre guy.
Yeah, you're just a guy.
Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. We had a great time at I.O. We're going to talk all about Google I.O. Practically most of the show is about I.O. because there's just a ton of really good Android news there, as we kind of expected. Although we didn't quite get a whole lot of the predictions right. We're going to go over that a little bit later. And what else do we have? Nexus-ifying popular devices, popular hardware. I think this could be kind of a cool trend going forward. And one or two other things, just a couple.
Just a little news.
Yeah, but... We must start with Ron, right, Ron? Because something happened after last week's episode, and it kind of, I don't know, it kind of set the internet on fire for a short bit anyways.
Well, yeah, we definitely had a lot of fun. I mean, so if for those who were in the chat room and watched the show live last week, when we finished the show, I tried on Jason's glass. And let's say the reaction was humorous, I think the internet enjoyed.
If it was 7 right now.
Holy cow!
What?
Look at it.
That's the one thing I regret is
Have you never
got away.
No, it's fine, Dad.
Right? Holy cow! Okay, Glass.
So all week people have been tweeting "Holy cow" at me.
Holy cow!
The only thing this really needs is like explosions.
Right.
Like
this is so cool. Back. How do you go back? Stop. This is the coolest thing ever.
like your mind exploding. Like
Stop.
holy cow!
Oh, look at that. It's 69 degrees.
Excellent.
9 a.m. Google I.O.
Yeah. So we released it as kind of like post-show stuff to the All About Android YouTube page, and then it got edited up. What you're seeing right here, I think it's now sitting somewhere around 85,000 views on it. So I suppose that's a verifiable, at least on the lower level. That's a little bit of a hit there, right?
It's the closest to a viral hit I think I've ever gotten. I think it's safe to say that.
Oh my God, that's so cool!
I wonder why.
Look at that!
You're right, Chad. We need.
That's freaky! Oh my God, that's the coolest thing ever.
Oh man.
The fact that I was getting messages from people like that I went to high school with, and people who I haven't talked to in years, like, "Hey, I saw you with Google Glass on YouTube."
Are you serious?
That's hilarious. There was a lot of people who came to the thing, and then over the weekend I started getting tweets telling me that it was on the front page of Reddit and the Android subreddit. and it was, it seemed to have gotten some legs from there, picked up over the weekend. It definitely was a lot of fun. Oh, it was in the What's Hot section of Google Plus for most of the weekend as well, too. Which was
Yeah.
awesome, so.
Yep, I saw it there as well. I think the reason why it did so well is because you could tell your reaction to it wasn't like manufactured. I mean,
Yeah, it was very genuine.
it was very
like,
authentic.
It was very authentic. That's what I loved about it. Is everybody had these like preconceived notions about glass
Yeah.
being for idiots and like being stupid and looking bad. Ron was just so like filled with enthusiasm for technology in like a very sort of like honest and earnest way. It's like the best part of it. I love it.
Yeah, it's
Well,
great.
that was the feedback I got. A buddy of mine that works at Google, his response was, "This is the best commercial we could have ever made." And so I thought that was very flattering. I did enjoy the folks on Twitter who were saying that I deserve to get a pair of glass now. I wasn't doing that to solicit to get one. I want to be clear about that. That wasn't part of it, but we'll see what happens. A couple of folks that work on the glass project have already have tweeted at me and said they've enjoyed it and invited me down to Mountain View. So we'll see what happens.
Well,
I'm
nice.
I'm not looking to get one. So yeah.
Because of the way that it gets that things like this get shared on the internet nowadays, you've got all these different silos of comments everywhere, right? Like it was shared on Reddit and there's just 300 some odd comments there. It was shared on YouTube, obviously that's where it originated, so you've got a ton of comments there. Google Plus, Twitter, and everything, and almost every single thread of those threads that I read through and read the comments had all these people saying, "Oh my God, that's so awesome! I want them so bad now." So I mean, I think that's exactly it. I think what it is you responded to Glass in the way that people hoped that they would respond to it when they finally saw it after everything they've read and heard.
Yeah, I got a lot of similar feedback from people who said that they were as skeptical as I was, and my reaction made them reconsider it
Right.
or actually want them to get it, which wasn't what I was trying to do. That was just my honest reaction.
And that's
But,
exactly why it did
yeah,
so
was
well.
Yeah, and it was really interesting to see and what was interesting, especially on Google Plus, was that every time someone posted on Google Plus and it would shoot up with pluses, then someone else would repost it, and that would be a whole nother thread of comments that they keep track of. And it was just like really interesting to see how the conversation went. But my favorite was reading on Reddit and also on YouTube some of the negative comments. There were just some really choice ones. They were very funny. They're just like, "Wow, has this guy ever used technology before?" It was pretty good.
It's good stuff. So Phil,
Quick, somebody show him some fire and let's see what happens.
it's amazing.
Exactly.
Phil, when you first tried Glass, so I don't think you do not own a pair of Glass, but I know that you've been around and that other folks on Android Central that we were actually at I/O with had them. When you first tried them on, did you have this kind of reaction?
I mean, I kind of knew what to look. Nothing competes to Ron, right? Any reaction after that is just going to be like, "Well, that was okay."
Yeah,
it seems like he enjoyed him. Yeah, I mean, you kind of knew it was coming. You're not prepared for like the effect of how this little display sitting right in front of your face is going to treat you.
Sure.
And I'm half cross-eyed anyway, and I'm blind without my contacts in, so like I'm trying to look in one direction while still seeing. But it was a really odd feeling. And I think you'll get used to it the more, and you've been using yours forever, right? So you get more used to it as you do it. But yeah, it was certainly a little disorienting at first. If that's cool and you enjoy that sort of thing, Ron, more power to you. I want more time with it before I really pass judgment.
Absolutely.
Well, what I thought was also interesting was the people in the comments who did the two things the smart people picked up on was the one time when Gina was telling me about that Black Mirror movie, and I said, "What is Black Mirror?" And Gina started to answer me. I said, "No, I'm asking Google." So people who picked up on that, I thought was interesting. But then the second thing was the people who picked up in the video when 10 minutes into it, when I said, "Okay, I'm bored. Now what?" Like there was a moment where I was like, okay, this is cool, but what more can I do with it? And that's what I think is the big question about Glass is what will go beyond that initial wow factor and what you can do with it.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Same deal, showing it to a couple of people here in the studio where they put it on, they have the immediate reaction of like, oh, wow, that's really cool. And then, yeah, about 5 minutes later, okay, what do I do now? Where do I go? And that'll all get worked out.
It's not a retail product, and I think it's been easy to forget that, right? This is not something your parents are supposed to go out and buy right now and actually use in their daily lives. So I think with that in mind, I mean, it's a really cool developer product, right? Really, really fun toy. but it's not meant to be flying off shelves to be used 24 hours a day.
Yeah, it's an interesting alpha to be in on, to be able to put it on and check out the alpha product. And I guess, we're pretty fortunate that we get a chance to even do that at all, because a lot of people haven't had that chance yet. So anyways, great stuff there. I'm stoked that did so well, and it's obvious why it did. It was a genuine response, and that's what people want to see, I think. Ron, you're welcome to stick around as long as you want. We'll just kind of wait to hear from you, because I know you're at the airport and everything. But if you want to hang out and kind of talk about some of this stuff, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about I/O. We don't have any bumpers for each of these things, because I'm not that crafty. So I didn't put anything together. But the first segment, let's just kind of talk about the stuff that's really connected to developers. Just because we knew that going into Google I/O this year was going to be very developer focused. What about Android Studio, Gina?
Android Studio is really cool. It's a brand new development environment for Android apps. I was pretty excited about this, and they led with this too, which really kind of reinforced the developer centricism of the conference. They showed a couple of things on stage. It was a pretty quick demo on stage. WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get. Layout editor, so you change the text in your app, and you see how it looks on 4 different size screens right there inside the IDE. Previews of images and localization, translation, just a really cool, fabulous code editor. And it's available now for Windows, Mac, and Linux. So right now, developers use Eclipse.
Sorry.
Whoa, thanks,
that scared me. Sorry. I still had that one on from earlier.
Right now, developers build their apps in Eclipse with an Eclipse plugin, the ADT plugin, and that's still going to be supported. But Android Studio is in preview now. You can download it for Windows, Mac, or Linux. It is open source. It's based on IntelliJ, which is an open source code editor IDE, and it's really open source. You can see the commits as they happen. There's a link in the Android open source project, so you can see Android Studio go. And there's apparently a 53-minute Android Developers Tools session. Or video of the session at Google I/O. So if you want to see all the things that Android Studio can do. I had a super busy weekend and only managed to download and install it and launch it. I haven't yet sort of ported my app from Eclipse over to Android Studio. They're saying that this is a preview, and this is for developers, who to play around with. And if you've got a huge app with tens of thousands of users, you maybe don't want to port your app over to Android Studio just yet. This is a preview. It's a beta, but it's a really nice developer tool. And when I was prepping for the show today, I was looking at our predictions doc, our predictions for Google I/O. And I sat here right in this chair and said on this show, there's no way there's not going to be a new version of Android announced at I/O. I was like, it will at least get Android, 4.3, right? And we didn't. But I wasn't disappointed, because we got tons of really cool developer tools like Android Studio. The other thing that they announced was Google Play Services, which is an app that runs inside of Android that Google pushes down directly to Android, right? Live over the air. It's not like an operating system update. It's an app, and it's an app that lets developers write to Google APIs. And the cool thing about Google Play Services, and actually you can check it out on your phone, you probably have it already, it's the green Google Settings app, is the interface to it, one of the interfaces to it, is that Google can update that to phones from Android 2.2 and above, right? So even if you're stuck on Gingerbread still, you'll get updates to Google Play Services, which is what Google wants all Android developers to plug their stuff into and to talk to Google through their app. So that's a really nice kind of roundabout way to deal with the fragmentation issue. Absolutely. Is to just make these updates through the Google Play Services versus trying to push the operating system updates through the carriers and manufacturers.
Well, it effectively kills the fragmentation issue. Because you have these services on 98% of devices. That's the big number, right? So I mean, at this point, we didn't get 4.3, but what is 4.3? To me right now, it's nothing but a number. These services, like you said, it's a huge deal. It's a much bigger deal than just some point increase with features, because we've already got. You're going to be able to get this on so many more devices now.
Mm-hmm. Everybody ends up benefiting, whether your device isn't up to date or not. And exactly. You're exactly right, Phil. It certainly addresses, but in a large swath, the fragmentation issue there. And I agree, Gina. I was not disappointed by the lack of an upgrade, an official upgrade to Android, because I think that what they did around the services, and this is exactly what they were saying, leading up to it, what they did around the services and focusing on the developers in this push with I/O, just really got me excited in a strange way. I almost wouldn't have expected going into it, and maybe knowing that in advance, that I would have been as excited about a lot of this stuff. Obviously, we're going to talk about more of this stuff as we go along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jason, I actually shared your excitement. Like watching the whole demo of the studio aspect made me want to go make Android apps. I was like, wow, like if anything, as opposed to trying to roll out a new version of the OS, they're shoring up the current one and making it the best it can be, and that's a great decision.
Absolutely. Yeah, the version comparison, I can't remember what it was called, but they showed it off in the presentation where it had all the different form factors and side by side. I have to imagine that made a lot of developers really, really happy to not have to go through, from what I understand, the many steps to be able to kind of compare and contrast how an app looks on all of these different form factors. That alone just looked really impressive and extremely helpful.
Yeah, I mean, there weren't very many Oprah giveaway moments, right? But the applause during the developer tools announcements were like genuine developers like excited about like the possibility of making something cool. And I really enjoyed that versus the like, oh, we're all getting free this, that, the other thing. It felt like, oh, Google's really trying to make a platform to make developers make new and cool stuff. Of course, Google put a lot of carrots out there to make developers build the stuff that Google wants. Google wants tablet optimized apps. They want apps that connect to Google services and then use Google APIs so that users of the apps are feeding information back to Google. And they made all those options really attractive and interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Well, to kind of move this along here and take a look at some of the other stuff, they, along those Google Play services, they also kind of introduced something that we obviously did predict in the predictions, which was the Google Play game services, something that we kind of saw coming because there were just enough leaks to really kind of point to this being a certainty. But some really cool stuff, achievements for kind of increasing that engagement across the different games, social and public leaderboards so that you can kind of compare your own performance up against other people that are playing the game, cloud saves so that it syncs automatically to the cloud so that if you have multiple devices, and this totally has driven me insane on multiple occasions. I know I'm not alone, where you install a game that you really like on both your tablet and your phone, and you get so far on your tablet and then you pick up the phone and you have to start over again because there's no way of syncing that progress unless the developer themselves had figured out a way, or you've gone with a third-party solution. Now that's all done through Google Play game services, as well as real-time multiplayer for syncing just different players of the same game and allowing them to compete. Unfortunately, that was I think, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the only points of the keynote where the demonstration didn't actually work, and they had to kind of bail on showing that off, which was unfortunate because I think everybody really wanted to see it in action, but you kind of can't hold it against them too badly because, as is the case with all these keynotes and these huge rooms with just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people all sucking down Wi-Fi, it's not easy in those networking environments to pull these things off necessarily.
I mean, at a developer conference, the entire place is filled with people who have done demos that have failed. Like I felt more empathy coming from the audience than I did like anger. I mean, of course you laugh a little bit because it's Google, right? And they're sort of perfect, right? But it was like, all right, everybody here has been through this. We did all want to see it. It didn't work out. There was a forced close. There was like unfortunately, Google Play Services has stopped dialogue, which is the dreaded dialogue box that no Android developer ever wants to see. And there was like everybody in the room was like, oh, but then you kind of laugh and moved on. It wasn't too bad. I mean, they had some the multi-screen demo was very cool, and that worked really well.
Yeah, exactly. Totally agree. I love seeing all the gaming, and I think it's obviously it's great for Android. It certainly allows developers to take the gaming aspects of and potential of Android and take it a little bit more seriously. I think gaming on Android has really matured over the last year or two already, but this just enables that even further.
And actually, Jason, you'll be able to use some of those gaming services outside of a game. It's going to be, depending on what your app needs to do, but the cloud saves for game data, you only have a limited amount of data there. So if you need to save bulk, much larger files, you're going to probably want to use Google Drive through those APIs or something. But for smaller things, this might be a way to go for an app that you normally wouldn't think of as a game.
Yeah, very true. Let's see here. What else do we have? Location APIs. Okay, so this is interesting just for developers who want to build kind of more kind of precise functionality into their apps around location. They've a fused location provider that basically gives best location according to the needs of the user and of the app. They introduced geofencing API for notifications for things like when a user enters or exits an area, and then that can trigger something kind of similar to what we've done for a long time with apps like Tasker and those kinds of things, kind of saying anywhere within this area, and it does this. Now developers can kind of, I guess, more easily build that kind of functionality into their apps. And then activity recognition, which I think is pretty darn sweet, which it basically kind of detects how your device is being used at any given time. Are you standing still? Are you walking, cycling, in vehicle? And if that, then what does it surface as the correct content for the user, and potentially save your battery and just provide a host of other kind of benefits in that regard.
Yeah. We had talked about that with glass a little bit, right? There are no laws really around wearing glass when you're driving. And one of the things we talked about is, well, glass should be able to detect that you're driving and basically shut itself off, except for, maybe nav. So I'm really happy to see this built into Android for that kind of functionality.
Mm-hmm. Google Cloud Messaging, got glass on the brain apparently. Google Cloud Messaging, a cloud connection server basically that have a kind of a persistent connection that they can send just a bunch of messages across with no overhead. New APIs that kind of let apps kind of talk through that stream to third-party servers using that cloud messaging service. Gina, as the developer, how would you see this being used?
This is really cool. This is the way that apps can send notifications to users. And the upgrade here that caught my eye, particularly as a user, is notification sync. So if my app sends you a notification, you're running my app on your tablet and your phone. If you swipe away that notification on one device, it will also disappear on your other device.
Awesome.
That's really, really nice.
Yeah.
So notification sync was something I was really excited about, both as user and developer.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it like a man in the middle, Jason. So
I feel like
go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I feel like the sync services that they pushed throughout Google I/O really shows where their focus is between Chrome and the devices and the desktop. Understanding that you're using multiple devices and keeping them all in sync really, kind of separates them from iOS in that matter. Although iOS does have that, but it just seems like they recognize that this is something that that this is the kind of hardware and technology that users are using, and the Android should adapt to that and enable that kind of syncing. That blew me away. And you just saw sync go, mentioned over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the cloud messaging, Jason, think of it like a man in the middle. So we just launched our Android Central app, and instead of you launching it and hitting the refresh button, I will freely admit it's a little clunky, it will say, all right, I'm waiting for Google Cloud Messaging to say, hey, there's an update. Now you need to sync. So our servers, basically an RSS feed, right, will tell Google Cloud Messaging, hey, there's an update now. Now tell the app to go pull it down.
Excellent.
So it's going to save the hell out of your battery. It's really going to be nice.
Much more efficient. Excellent. I like the way you put that. So that is cloud messaging. And then finally, cross-platform single sign-on, which is, again, kind of, along these same lines, being able to sign into one account over on this device and have it automatically recognize that and sign you into that account on another device using the same app, further using the Google Plus sign-in, which I love to see more and more things using the Google Plus sign-in. It's totally how I would prefer to sign into these things across the web. So it sounds pretty nifty. Awesome. Wow, there's just so much information. So this is going to be a lot of talking. But Gina, what do you have next here?
I'll blow through this real quickly. A couple of huge upgrades to the Play Store for developers as well. I got really excited about this stuff. So there's the console in Google, the Google Play Store, where as a developer you upload your app. We got a bunch of really cool updates. One of them is beta testing and staged rollout. So if I'm building my app, if I'm building my to-do text app, and I want to roll out a beta to a certain number of users that I've had it in a custom Google Plus circle, or that I have on a mailing list, I can send that beta to only those users. That's awesome. So I get early feedback. If I've done a huge refactoring, I've made a bunch of changes, I only want a small group of trusted testers to try it out, I can do that. That's awesome. Localization improvements. So now localization is when you have your app translated. So if I've got my app and I really want a Japanese translation, or I see in the statistics I've got tons of users in Japan, or I've got tons of users in India, but I don't have a translation and I don't speak those languages, there's going to be a way right in the console to purchase a translation from a human translator. So this is a service that Google is going to provide now, which is awesome. New analytics. This is it always killed me that it was never easy to log into Google Play and say, how much money have I made on my app? I don't understand how this hasn't been there since day one, but it's there now. So you get daily revenue and summary figures. You can see how much money you've made over time. It's a very pretty bar chart that'll either make you really depressed or really happy, depending on how your app's doing. Google's also added a whole sections in the developer console for developers to upload screenshots for tablets, and they basically really reward developers who have tablet optimized their apps. So they'll feature you in the tablet optimized section. You can add separate screenshots. They want you to make your app look good on a tablet and use multi-panels and that kind of thing. There's also going to be a tablet apps section in the Play Store for consumer facing, so consumers can go and say, show me the best Android apps for tablets. And
that's different. Just to butt in real quick, because when I saw this, I was like, okay, don't they kind of already have that? I think what I've seen is the kind of like the curated. These are our favorite tablet apps, and not necessarily an actual section dedicated to apps created for the tablet. So I think that's pretty darn cool and long overdue.
Yeah, and they've got kind of checklists and they've got optimization suggestions. So when you upload your app, the Google kind of crawls through your app package and says, oh, hey, you don't have really extra high-res assets here. You should do that. Or, oh, hey, you're not supporting this version, and make suggestions. Oh, hey, you've got lots of users here and you could use a translation. And also they announced at Google I/O is Android for classrooms. So they're enabling the ability, or tablet apps for education. They're enabling the ability for teachers and for school districts to bulk purchase apps for students who have Android tablets in the classroom, apps which have been curated and edited and approved by teachers, educational apps and content, and buy them in bulk and push them down to student tablets automatically. And that hasn't launched yet, but it was a really cool demo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Preview, I should say.
I like that a lot. I hope that as a person who has a 3-year-old and a newborn, I hope that means more interesting kind of educational apps will be created for Android, because I feel like I've seen a lot of the really good ones, and there needs to be a lot more. Sometimes I'm wanting more, so I hope that this is kind of the conduit for that. Welcome back, Ron. I know we lost you there for a second, but it's good to have you back.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. Finally, let's see here, just real quick on this, selling physical goods and services, the Instant Buy API, which provides a lot of access for things like fast checkout through Android, which is with as few as 2 clicks. That's nice. Easy app registration using the Google sign-in, as well as the Instant Buy. Developers can basically allow a user, to sign in directly with their Google account and create an app registration there. Security to the payments, making them more secure. And then finally, and I don't think this was part of the announcement or if it came up after the fact, but I saw some people talking about how Gmail is being active. Something is being activated within Gmail to allow you to pay other people via Gmail. I haven't seen that firsthand, but I imagine.
I haven't either.
Yeah, somewhere along these lines. Did you guys write up something about that at Android Central? I know I saw it kicking around a couple of blogs.
It's essentially, think of it like PayPal from Google, but you're able to send money directly to somebody else
through Gmail.
Yeah.
Awesome. And that was my wallet something. in my prediction, is that there would be something wallet something, and there was. So
I have to remember this using something in the prediction and allowing that to.
There's a broad interpretation there.
Yes.
I like that.
This is a good approach.
Not my fault I nailed it. I totally nailed that prediction. There was something Google Wallet.
Somebody has to nail something here, so yeah, you got it. All right, cool. Well, so that's it. Well, I'm sure that we missed some stuff, but that's it basically for kind of the developery stuff. Now we have just a bunch of stuff related to cool services. Some of these are really cool, I think. And sort of hardware. We might as well start off, Gina, with the sort of hardware. Kind of a big deal.
Yeah, the old is new again. I think it was Sundar Pichai who pulled out a Samsung Galaxy S4 and said, hey, here's my Samsung Galaxy S4. And he had mentioned that he used that phone in his interview with Stephen Levy we talked about last week. And then he said, take a look at the home screen. And up on the big screen was, someone kind of thumbing around an Android home screen, and it was stock. So that's what Google's going to do. They're gonna offer the Samsung GS4 running stock Android, the Nexus experience, and they're going to offer it. Of course, he then said this isn't a giveaway, in which everyone's like, oh, but it's going to be available and play.google.com at the Play Store $649.
How
completely unlocked.
How quickly did the crowd go silent at that price, though?
Yeah, the price, there was definitely like everybody, the whole audience got punched in the gut. Everybody was like, ugh. It was it's a lot. But it's an unlocked device, unlocked bootloader. Google's promising fast updates, the way they would update a Nexus device. Runs on T-Mobile or at AT&T's LTE networks. It comes with 16 gig of storage. And like I said, it'll go on sale June 26, $649. This was the HTC One. I'd be really excited.
I know. There may be something along those lines a little bit later in the show.
Maybe.
Stay tuned for that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump ahead.
No, not at all. That's a tease. That's expert right there. So $649. As you said, Phil, a lot of people gasped at it. I think I gasped at it initially. The more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, Samsung's not going to let their hardware undercut itself and release it for less than the MSRP. But why do you think the majority of people gasped at that? Is it because of the Play Store strategy that we've kind of gotten used to at this point of like current versions of devices for prices that are close to the subsidized price? Is that why?
Yeah, I mean, nobody is subsidizing this phone. Not Google, not the carriers, nobody, right? You're going to pay full price for it.
Yeah.
I think we like to pretend that we're all going to go out and get developer phones and unlocked phones or whatever, but the vast majority of people out there do not buy phones at full retail at all. In fact, I end up buying a lot because I have to buy so many. I can't do everything on contract, but they look at you funny when you say, no, I'm just going to buy it outright. And probably I think Gina's right because everybody thought they were going to get one. And then hey, no, you got to spend, 3 days pay on it or whatever. It was a bit of a hit. I want to know from Gina, is this a Nexus device to you? That's been the big discussion around our camp. And honestly, I don't quite have an answer for it yet. I'm not sure Google does.
Well, it's not a Nexus in name, but it's certainly a Nexus in behavior. Right? If it's running stock Android and if it really is going to get the updates that the Nexus device gets, then yeah, that's my one main objection. Ron, I think, agrees with me. My one main objection about using non-Nexus phones, right, is that it's not the stock Android experience and that it doesn't get the update. So yeah, theoretically it is. Sure.
Right. I suppose the only thing that would make it more Nexus if it had Nexus attached to the end of it. Yeah, I completely agree with that.
The question is, are they going to push the code back upstream? These things have LTE in them, and unless somebody has gotten that code licensed out,
true.
We don't know. We don't know if it's truly AOSP supported, if you're going to have binaries for it. And those are big questions for developer type phones, right? Yeah. I'm still questioning why everyone's so excited about a phone that you can easily and the Galaxy S4 is a different animal than the HTC One because of the whole storage issue. But is it really that hard to get a stock experience on one of these high-end phones now without spending $700 to do it? And yeah, I don't think it is.
Of course not. Yeah,
right.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Having said that, I hope that this is a trend that we see on other devices like this, because I've for the longest time now been thinking the way that you differentiate your device, at least for the geeks anyways. I don't know if it would work, by and large across everybody, but as far as I'm concerned, you differentiate by offering a vanilla Android experience, because I think Android just as a platform is mature enough that people would love that presentation if they were given the option. The problem is we aren't given that option very often, and so that would be the differentiator. So at least if we have the option with these great pieces of hardware to kind of bypass the overlay that they try and force us to take along with it, I think that's a good thing. So I hope it's a trend kind of going forward, and we see more of that.
Yeah, me too. Also, sort of far into the keynote at this point, like my butt was starting to hurt and I was ready to go. But this is actually a really cool announcement. New Google Maps redesign, huge redesign for Google Maps actually. And I don't believe it's live for everyone yet. We were at I/O, so we got an invitation. But if you go to maps.google.com/preview, you can request an invitation. Really nice redesign. The entire map. The map is the UI, quote unquote. This was the company line. The entire map fills the screen, and when you click on a place, it would show you related places. If you clicked on a place that had kind of small roads or little lines, those would kind of light up. Very dynamic, very nice presentation. You see reviews of places from people in your Google Plus search circle, so very social. Beautiful redesign. And apparently this is coming. I've only seen this on the desktop. This is coming to Android and iOS as well, although I don't think that's gone out yet.
No,
correct me if I'm wrong. Later this summer. Okay.
And I think really the big change is search results are now part of the map. It's not just some little list down on the side. And it's a little confusing at first. You have to look at the map to see what it was you were looking for. But it's really beautifully done.
Yeah, it really is. It looks great. And can I just say, if a full redesign of maps and I imagine navigation is coming to Android, thank God navigation is going to change, because it just kind of bugs me. I know it's such a stupid, silly thing, but it bugs me that the design of navigation is still stuck in like that gingerbread old era. Yet it's one of the Google apps that I use the most. And every time I have to look at it, I'm like, why have they not spent quality time with this great product that people love Android for in many ways? So I'm happy.
The dreaded blue arrow.
Yeah. So I'm happy that they're going to update that. But yeah, the map stuff was really, really impressive. And, when they took it into space, it was just a very dramatic reveal. And I didn't expect to be wowed by it as much as I was. So cool stuff.
The redesign of maps itself actually reminds me a little bit of Bing, though.
Oh, really?
It reminds me of some of the stuff Microsoft was doing a couple of years ago that everybody kind of scoffed at, but like that full screen experience with the search bar floating over the map. I mean, that's, to me, I was like, that looks very Bing-esque. So,
oh yeah, you're right. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's cool. I mean, it's cooler than Bing.
Oh yeah, lots of street view photos, user-generated photos.
Yeah.
So you can see photos that users took and uploaded to the map. But yeah, you're right, Ron. That's a good observation. I'm not sure how I feel about the results on the map. I have to tell you, I sort of miss the textual list, because your eye has to really search the map to see the dots. But otherwise, I really like it.
Yeah, it's almost like what it inspires more is really analyzing your results based specifically on the location and not necessarily on the results, right? Because you're only looking at a certain, you in the center of this entire swath of location. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how helpful that is. But I like, from a design perspective, I like it. I hope that it's as usable as I'm used to with the other one. Now, Ron, I know that you are pretty passionate about this one. What did you think about the announcements around Play Music, specifically All Access?
Yeah, so we finally got the worst kept secret of their Google Music All Access, which is their streaming subscription service. Taking on RDO and Spotify and other things like that. And I was so excited to see it get announced. And then as soon as and actually you were in the audience tweeting at me saying, have you gotten in yet? And I finally got in and checked it out. And probably about 5 minutes after using it, I canceled my RDO subscription.
Boom.
It
Wow.
had me at first glance. It's great. This is the Google Play Music that I knew the potential existed for. And so I've been using it nonstop since the announcement, and it's fantastic. They've completely overhauled both the web experience and the app. It is now they've got a great radio function, which, I was testing it. I was trying to see, okay, what radios is it going to suggest to me based off my collection? And the first 4 radio stations were 4 of my favorite bands, and it served up a great mix of music, both that I owned as well as the streaming service. Once I chose to pay for it, or I got my free month trial, and then it's $7.99 a month after that. But it's great. I loved it. What do you think, Jason?
No, I was super impressed, and this is same as you. This is kind of what I've been waiting for. I feel a little bummed because I bought my wife a 3-month kind of subscription to Spotify. And, she hasn't activated it yet because she's been out on maternity leave. And now I'm like, I guess you could use that. But, there's the All Access that I'm definitely signing up for. I think the thing that I love most about it might not have the library of some of the other services. I'm sure the size of the library is limited at this point, but it makes up for that in spades just based on the sheer fact alone that it's a music locker that stores 20,000 of your own songs. And the beauty of that is that it mixes it all together. Like the library that you have is intermixed with the library that they have, and it's just kind of all yours. So it's not, you're not really siloed in a certain way. You can go into any of those results that you do in a search, and if it's hosted on Google Play Music, you can pin it just the same that you can anything else. It'll store it on your local device, and it's yours and it kind of intermixes with your library. I think it's great. I think for especially for $8 a month to get that. And now after June 30th, it goes up to $9.99 a month. So if you think this might be something you're interested in, sign up for the trial now, and then you'll kind of get a discount of a couple of bucks a month. But either way, and I'll be completely honest, I don't buy music anymore. I just don't buy music. I'm not listening to a lot of music right now, but it feels really good again to be paying for music, whether I'm listening to it or not. It's the same kind of feeling that I get from Netflix, right? I have months with Netflix where I don't watch anything. But I still feel okay with paying that fee. I don't mind because the people that are making great content, are still getting paid from me, Otherwise, I wouldn't buy movies or I wouldn't buy music. It's just not part of my habit anymore. So this way, it's happening, and it's a fee that I can I'm okay with.
It's the return of Zune Pass for me.
Well, and that's going to be the big thing that's good.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
It's the way it should work.
That's going to
There's a little bit of lag. Sorry, you guys. I think there's a big lag hitting back to Ron. How about this, Phil? Go.
Zune Pass, love it. I can stream all I want. I can download what I want to listen to, and it just works, and it's integrated perfectly. Done.
Mm.
Holy cow! Oh my God!
Phil is amused.
I don't know if it deserved a holy cow response like that, but, like my Google Glass response. But no, but I mean, really, the thing that's going to define Google Play Music All Access with the longest name ever is going to be whether or not Google continues to get the content. I mean, I already out of the gate, the new Vampire Weekend single came out. They don't have it, whereas Rdio and Spotify do. So already I got hit with one band that I couldn't listen to. But having the knowledge of Google Music, knowing what I listen to, what I like, and then serving that back to me, as long as they get the content, it'll be great. My only gripe about it, it's not perfect. My only gripe is there are no publicly published playlists. That's what that Rdio has. That Spotify has that. That's the last bit of functionality I want to see from Google Play Music. Once they have that, then it'll be perfect.
I also want the media keys that you have on most of your keyboards to work with Google Play All Access Music. That is a super long name. Because, I'll have it up on my desktop, but there's no way for me to move through songs unless I go to the browser and click the next button. And you think it could be fixed with a Google extension. I couldn't find one.
Yeah, there are Chrome extensions that allow you to add play and pause buttons to the Chrome bezel browser on your desktop, but not to map them to the keys yet. I'm looking for it. I agree with you too. I was looking for that.
And there was one service that did it, but it was Windows only. So
Yeah, all around great, and they redesigned the app, which it looks wonderful. They built in an equalizer if that's your thing. They also have the ability. It's a little hidden, but they have the ability for parents who want to hide NSFW songs from their kids. You can do that in there, only to have your kids go in and uncheck it. So, there's that too. But the Google Play Music all around, I'm pretty stoked with that. I know, Ron, I think you have to bolt now, don't you?
Yeah, I got to get to the gate. I got to get through security. So sorry for the lag and sorry for the announcements, but I'm glad I was able to check in. And ultimately, Google I/O, I thought it was great, but I thought it was even more subdued than we predicted it would be, which is not a bad thing. But that was my impression from it. And I'm glad I missed it because I got a lot of work done. So anyway.
Yeah, take that. All right, have a safe flight. Yeah. You can find Ron at about.me/RonXO. See you, man. Have a safe flight.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Whew, we got a lot more here. Gina, what's up with Google Plus?
Holy cow.
I know. The hits keep coming.
Yeah, they keep coming. So tons of Google Plus updates. Google Plus totally redesigned in the web browser. Really nice multi-column layout. Huge photos, still moving in that huge photos direction. Auto hashtagging, so Google Plus now guesses what hashtag should apply to your post, even if you don't say anything. And they're
super helpful. I love that really already. Helpful. Yeah.
The cards kind of flip around, do this flippy animated thing where you can flip it around and say, hey, show me more posts like this. Really, really, really nice. Hangouts, which I'm going to let you talk about in a minute. Really huge photo updates too. So the line was, Google's data center is your dark room. When you upload photos to Google, they've got these really great auto enhance features which soften wrinkles and enhance faces. Just really nice features. Google will detect if you take several similar photos, one right after another, and put them all together and make an animated GIF like thing, kind of like the Zoe on the HTC One. Really nice photo features in Google Plus. And Google Plus for Android 42, I guess, is the number. I guess this is the okay. They said that Google Plus had 41 new features, so the number 42 is the Android app.
Excellent.
Great new photos, auto backup your photos from your phone right to the app. Location sharing with just the circles that you approve, and just really nice kind of easy ways to explore posts in the app as well. I actually haven't spent as much time in the Android app as I have in the desktop experience myself, but all really nice updates to Google Plus. The multi-column layout, I'm still kind of getting used to. It's a lot busier, it feels like, than that single stream, but I'm really digging it so far.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit busier on the web. It didn't take me very long to get used to it. I love it. I know some people don't like the fact that you have to manually click to refresh. Personally, I would find it really chaotic if all those columns were updating, automatically and flying all over the place and everything. So I don't mind that. It kind of gives me more control over the feed and allows me to say, oh, well, I've got 50 new things that are about to appear when I hit this button. So I at least have control over it. But
with the multi-column, you can't do the real-time updating. You just can't. I mean, it would be impossible. It would be really difficult to use.
Yeah, totally. I almost feel, and this is just kind of random kind of view in the last week of using it, that I see a lot of people using Google Plus now that were just kind of using it randomly here and there. I see a lot more engagement right now. And I don't know if it's just because it's fresh in people's minds or if the new revisions have really kind of caught people's attention and everything, but I'm seeing way more engagement suddenly since last week. I know I'm loving it. I've always loved Google Plus. I think we all probably have. I just wish that I could figure out how to get the non-techie friends that I have to see what I see in Google Plus, and that I think is the big challenge for Google right now. Mm-hmm. But the app is great. They made some really nice design changes to the app as well. So yeah, go Google Plus. Excellent job there. Another part of that is, of course, Hangouts. We talked last week in the predictions and probably a few times before that about Babel, whatever you want to call it, and then eventually Hangouts was the name that was bandied about. It's essentially Google's unified messaging service, as we expected. Right now, it's basically taking talk and Messenger and grouping it into one. There's an actual Hangouts app that replaces Talk. So when you download it and install it on your Android device, it will kind of remove the icon and from your device completely and replace it with Hangouts. And just so far, I really like Hangouts. It feels a little bit sluggish, I gotta say, on my Galaxy Nexus. I'm not sure if it's just my device or I think the Galaxy Nexus is starting to show a little bit of its age at this point with some of the newer developed apps.
Yes.
And I feel it with Hangouts, but that's okay. I don't mind. I really like the kind of flow and the structure of the way it's laid out in the app. It doesn't give you some things, though, that you got in Talk. You don't get to see if someone's online necessarily. And that, I think, is taking a little getting used to. Sometimes it's really nice to open up your chat client and go, oh, they're there. I'm going to chat with them now and hope that they'll want to chat with me back. Now you're kind of throwing it out there and hoping that they see it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. What did you think of the update, Phil?
It's not the be-all, end-all of messaging apps that I think a lot of people were expecting. I mean, it still doesn't tie into stuff like Skype. There's still protocol issues, and in fact, Google has actually pulled a little bit of support for some of the other protocols. So I don't want to say I'm disappointed because I'm using the hell out of it this week here at CTIA. But and Google Voice is still a little, interesting with the integration. And Google has said this is the future of Google Voice. So there's obviously work to be done. I just think some of the hype leading into this was, as hype tends to be, overhyped, if you will.
Yeah. Exactly. Let's see. Someone in the chat room, let's see here, Web4148 and Oreo are saying you don't necessarily get to see if they're online with like the green dot that you got in Talk, but they say if they're online or if they're offline, their picture is grayer than if they're online. If that's the case, it's subtle enough that I did not notice that difference. So I'm going to totally look into that now. And if that's the case, then I at least appreciate that because I do actually like knowing that. But yeah, I agree, Phil. I think the potential is there. I never in the unified messaging app, solution from Google expected that they'd unify everything like Skype. I would have been really surprised if they would bring that into there. But I do expect that they unify all of the Google products. And right now at launch, they don't. But as you said, they've announced that Google Voice is definitely a part of that, which makes my heart very happy because I love Google Voice. And to hear Google actually talking about it in like good ways about like plans that they have about it, that's like a great thing to hear at this point. We haven't got very much over the past couple of years. So I'm hoping those changes happen sooner rather than later. So far, I like it.
I've gotten a lot of angry tweets from people who are saying that it doesn't support XMPP or that they shut it off. And I've been trying to figure out if that's entirely true. The Verge said that certain XMPP features are not working, but that you have kind of limited support.
So I actually know a lot about this because I'm a huge Gtalk user and I love using my external apps like Trillion or Trillion is really the one that I use the most. Adium. That was the other one that I was thinking of. And you can also plug it in with iMessage and things like that. So you have XMPP support is still there at the moment. The Verge article mentioned that it may be removed in the future. And the features that they're talking about that it doesn't support are the specific Hangout features like sending pictures, and those specific Google Hangout features, like I can't see where someone else has read in line. So yes, it doesn't support those Hangout features, but at the moment, XMPP stuff is still working. And if you're wondering what XMPP is, it's the open standard that most of the chat platform is built off of. So that's why you can use it with your external things. And that's the biggest problem that I'm having with Hangouts right now is I don't want to keep Google Plus tab open so that I can see the Hangout. I want an actual app running on my computer, not in a browser. And that's my biggest problem with it. So anyway, I hope that
people
answers.
Who are connected to the XMPP network, the Jabber network, you can IM with them through Hangouts.
Correct. Now, so another feature that most people may not realize that you don't get is you don't get the group Hangout feature. So you can't be in a group chat. You can really only do if you've been using the XMPP Jabber network, everything's just about the same. It's just all of those extra features are definitely not supported, and they're dropping support for future versions of Hangout. So that's really what they're talking about. And
Gotcha.
People are asking if I install the Chrome extension. Yes, I just don't want Chrome open when I'm in the middle of gaming, or when I just don't want other things open like that. And also, it still feels like a paper app instead of like an actual hard and fast app. All of those Chrome extensions always feel so hacked, and I don't like them.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chad.
No problem. I hope that answers questions.
I like having the definitive explanation. Awesome. Chad Johnson, everyone.
Chad drops the hammer.
Yeah, I love it. Love it.
I really care about that one.
Good, I can tell. I appreciate that. Well, I have just a lot of people saying, "Oh, what are the Google fans saying now about XMPP, open source protocol, not so open anymore, are they?" You know, that kind of thing.
And it's scary because the Verge article sort of hinted that they may drop all support in the future. That your trillions and your adiums and your iMessages just will not work in the future. But at the moment, everything is still working just fine.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Chad.
No problem.
Thank you, Chad. All right, and finally, multi-screen search, all that fun search stuff. Gina, what was that all about?
Conversational search. This was a really cool demo. So Google's going to understand the questions that you ask it. The queries are no longer queries. They're no longer keywords. They're just English questions. So on stage, the Googler who was doing the demo said, what's the weather in Santa Cruz? And so Google said, it's whatever. It's 70 degrees in Santa Cruz. And then she said, and this is speaking, how far is it from here? And Google knew that it was Santa Cruz, and she knew that it knew that here was her location. And he said, Santa Cruz is this far from you. So Google's really working on these kind of understanding what you're asking based on what you asked in the past. And this will also work across devices as well. A couple of new searches for Google. Google now has these new hot words where you can ask it questions conversationally, like, when does my flight leave? And Google will say, your flight leaves on Wednesday at 10 a.m. because it's indexed your Gmail and has seen your flight confirmation and knows that you mean, that you're referring to that. The actual searching for my flights and getting your flight time and whether or not it's on time, that's actually been available in a Gmail field trial for a while. I opted into that quite a while back. So you basically give Google Search the ability to access your Gmail and then let you know if you have flight reservations, for example. But they're turning that on now for everyone. And a couple other hot words, voice action, search actions for Google Now. You can say, remind me to call Jason on Thursday, and it'll set a reminder and it'll let you know. It'll give you a notification of that reminder.
Love that.
So, yeah, really love that. And you can attach location to those things as well. So remind me to buy paper towels at Ralph's. Next time you're near Ralph's, it'll let you know. It's probably using that geofencing API that we talked about earlier. So really cool stuff. Google Now, this was actually a prediction we got right, was that there was going to be a lot more Google Now cards and more Google Now integration. So I'm pretty excited about this. And that was really it was one of the magical demos for me, was that, how far is it from here? Knowing that it was, the Google knew that she was referring to Santa Cruz, which he'd asked about the moment before. It was pretty amazing.
The funny thing about this kind of thing is that they're improving search to make it more conversational, like the way that you would talk in a conversation. The hard part about that is that we are so trained to not talk like we're in a conversation when we're talking with computers. So you actually have to think harder than you would, otherwise, to remember that and to phrase it in those kinds of ways when you're talking to a computer. But it's just a matter of training, and
it's true.
I feel like sci-fi has been predicting this kind of thing for such a long time that it's inevitable. Obviously, it's here. The future is now.
And it sounds like the trigger word is OK Google. So we saw the glass. So you say OK glass. With the Google search, it's OK Google.
It's OK everything.
Yeah, it's OK everything.
All right, title. OK everything. All right, so let's take a quick break. Man, we've had a long time on I/O. We have just a few more tidbits after we take this break, and then we're just gonna have to get right in the arena because we're quickly running out of time. But first, real quick, let's thank our sponsor of today's episode, Ting. What is Ting. Ting is actually a no BS mobile service. It's an MVNO reseller of the nationwide Sprint network. And basically how Ting is different is they don't have contracts or early termination fees. There's no bundling or ride-along services. Essentially, it's a network that allows you to go and choose just from a number of really great devices on the network, pay a low price. You're paying for the device and it's unsubsidized, so you have to keep that in mind. And then, they don't have all of these other things that your carrier normally gives to you for a lot of money in some cases. They don't have overage charges, no penalties if you use more than you thought you would. You just kind of pay for what you used. Credits on unused service. So if you use less than what you thought, Ting will drop you down a level and credit the difference on your next bill. No add-on charges for things like voicemail, caller ID, tethering, hotspot, three-way calling, call forwarding. No add-on charges for any of these. These are all part of your service. There's no mysterious line items that suddenly appear on your bill. That's the worst thing in the world. And then you have to get in touch with customer service and try and work it all out. And that doesn't happen with Ting. Unlimited devices on one plan. So you can actually have as many devices as you want on one single plan, and you can share and pool those minutes, messages, megabytes, all that fun stuff for a flat $6 per month for each device. They have just a wonderful online account control panel where you can kind of monitor your account and take control of it there. No hold customer support. If you call them at 855-TING-FTW anytime between 8 in the morning and 8 in the evening at Eastern, a real person is going to pick up the phone and they're going to talk to you right then and there. And they just have excellent online support as well at help.ting.com. So here's how it works if you're interested in doing this. First, you purchase your mobile device from Ting. You'll receive that in 2 to 5 business days. Then you'll activate your device with Ting and have the option to select a new phone number, or you can port an existing one if you are super attached to the one you already have. And then you select your monthly minutes, your messages, your megabytes with the plans that they have that you think is going to actually represent your usage. And Ting will bill you at the beginning of your payment period, but you will be charged and credited for the following pay period based on what you actually use. So they kind of give you, they give you a lot of latitude there. It's pretty cool. So here's what you do. Visit Ting today. You can go to our special URL. It's allaboutandroid.ting.com. That's allaboutandroid.ting.com. Save money and better manage your mobile phone usage with Ting. You can check out their savings calculator and see how much you or your company can actually save by using Ting. All About Android viewers can also save $25 on your first Ting device when you sign up. That's allaboutandroid.ting.com. And thank you once again for sponsoring this episode of All About Android. Ting, you are the awesome FTW. All right. So moving on, we've got only a few more things from I.O. I'm sweating because I feel like we've really talked about it top to bottom here, but we have a few things that didn't make it into the keynote, but they actually kind of fell into our predictions, so we have to talk about them. What's up with Google TV, Gina?
Google TV, getting a little movement. Google TV is going to update to Android 4.2.2, and along with that update, it's also going to update to the latest version of Chrome. And because it'll have the latest version of Chrome, it's going to join that regular 6-week update cycle for Chrome. I got really excited about this because the announcement was today Google TV is going to Android 4.2.2. So I very hopefully fired up my Logitech review and saw nothing. This is actually going to happen in the coming months. This update, and then after that, updates will be much faster. And I also was unable to find any specific information about the review itself. I don't know, Phil. Maybe you know better. Maybe I'm being way too hopeful.
Yeah, I would not expect. Hey, that you still have a review that works means you've done something right in the past life. My bigger question is, where is Google TV going to be 6-8 months from now when the Xbox One comes out? Yeah. And I know Jason's been living this all day today, but that Xbox One is really impressive. Why would I use Google TV? I have so many questions right now. Google TV has just been not on my radar for the past 4 or 5 months anymore. It's tough because I love the principle of it. So we'll just have to see.
Google TV needs a swift kick in the rear, apparently.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Hey, good. If they need to get a fire under their feet, maybe the Xbox One is it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Google TV needs to take itself seriously, I think. That's not to diminish the efforts of the team working on Google TV, but you really just it's just kind of forgotten at this point, and so many people have written it off because they used it, back in a couple of years ago, and it wasn't that great, and it never lived up to its expectations. And then we get to I/O this year, and it's not even a part of the keynote. So that's kind of Google taking it down a few rungs on the ladder. It just needs to take itself more seriously. And you're right, Phil, up against the media capabilities of the Xbox One. Wow, I guess the difference there is that the Xbox One is likely to be more expensive than what you probably get many of these Google TVs for. So, they kind of sit in different zones, but hopefully it's kind of, through osmosis, it ups the game a little bit and says, this is how you play the game.
Yeah.
Yep. One thing that Google TV owners did get was an update to the YouTube app with a better user interface for the home screen. It makes things just a lot simpler and easier to use. Gets support for Google's paid subscription channels, and the playback video controls are improved, and it's easier to subscribe to content from a creator's channel. That YouTube subscriptions has been something that Google's really been pushing. So they're doing that with the YouTube app for Google TV. So if you have a Google TV, you did get a little something. But I don't know. I feel like you think Google TV is going to go the way of Google Reader?
At some point, it would not surprise me. I would not bet against that happening.
God, Google, you have so much to gain from this. Like, just stick with it. Just throw it a bone. I don't know. I would be very sad if Google TV went away, because I love the promise of it, and I think that we still need something like this. They're just, I don't know. It's like they don't have the resources.
Drawn out promise.
moving it into up to Jelly Bean and kind of changing the way that they upgrade, the firmware and everything that they announced here helps, but they need to throw a lot of attention to it, I think, at this point. And then we also kind of anticipated more glass stuff. Didn't see any of that in the I/O. The word glass, I don't think, came up once, unless they were talking about the glass screen on the S4. So we didn't really hear a whole lot there, but that didn't kind of stop some announcements around glass, new apps, Twitter. Was it Facebook? Was Facebook already on there? Of course.
Yeah, Facebook was new.
And then I think Elle magazine, because we were wanting Elle magazine to have a glass app. But yeah, there really wasn't a whole lot. There was somebody walking around at Google I/O wearing Google Glass for prescription, had it mounted to their prescription glasses. I'm not sure if that was an official thing or if it was a hack job, but it was there and it was seen. So was the white Nexus 4, I might add, for those that care. But yeah, streaming video support coming soon to Google Glass. There just really wasn't a whole lot to talk about as far as Glass was concerned. Having said that, there was the opportunity for anyone who signed up last year to get Glass to go and pick it up while they were at I/O, which I thought might happen. I thought it would be weird if that didn't happen, because that seemed like the perfect place to do it. They waited a couple of days to announce that, so it kind of happened, kind of didn't. But there we go, Google Glass.
I missed that.
Yeah, it was towards the tail end, at least at the end of Thursday, that I started to hear about that they were opening it up to everybody from the previous year. So, and then I threw in here one more thing. One
more thing.
I'm sorry, I phrased it like that. But Gina, this has nothing to do with I/O, maybe just slightly.
So CNET's Crave blog is reporting that an influential HTC developer is saying the HTC One might go the route of the Galaxy S4, meaning that we might see an HTC One Google Edition running stock Android. I don't know. This person says got an inside track. It's a little conjecture. I'm looking at his or her tweet right now saying means of this summer we'll see the HTC One Google Edition or something like that. I don't know if there's any weight to this. I don't know if this is going to happen. I kind of would like for it to happen. I think I would buy the one running a stock Android before I'd buy the GS4, just because I like the way the one looks and those speakers look really good. I don't know, Phil, do you have any more information about this?
I I seriously doubt it's going to happen. I mean, look, you've got the specialized camera. You've got this boom sound is not just speakers. Boom sound is a combination of the speakers and the microphones and how everything works together. And above all that, you have HTC's ego. HTC is a very proud company. They're very proud of their software, and for good reasons. Whether or not you like Sense, they work damn hard on it, and a lot of really good people do it. I just don't see it happening. It's just not in their DNA. Maybe something like the One with a different name. But I don't see just, hey, here's the same phone that we said is going to save our company, and this is the phone, it's the One, and this is what everybody's going to get. And, oh, wait, here's another version of it.
I know, right?
You're crushing my dreams. You're crushing my dreams, Phil.
It's what I do. It's what I do.
Well, they did come out with the first, so...
Yeah. And I don't think that should have been called the HTC First.
Yeah.
It's just really going against a lot of things if they do it that way.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I would like to believe, and that's pretty much the reason I think it's in the rundown, because I would love to see this happen more, but I think you're right. It sounds like there's a lot of kind of more proprietary style hardware stuff in there that could potentially make that a little bit more difficult. Having said that, it's not a bad idea, HTC, if you want to, I don't know, just kind of, make that an option. And this goes for all manufacturers. I'm talking to all of you in the room. You can just do this with your hardware, and I think that'd be pretty cool. All right. Wow. Okay.
Ooh,
that was a lot of information. I'm a little dizzy right now, which is a perfect way to jump into the arena.
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
Because when you're dizzy, you're a little desperate. And gotta say, I'm a little desperate here. I didn't do too well last week. Last week, episode 109 of All About Android. Looks like pushover was no pushover. Winning top spot, 42% of the votes. I thought barbecue screen, BBQ screen, whatever you want to call it, had a real chance here. And it was pretty nifty, but it came in second with 30%, putting to bed the theory that guests always win in the arena. So Phil, your work's cut out for you. Stuck on Earth was my app. That was third place at 19%, and Dreamboard Mobile was fourth at 9%. If Ron was here, he'd be going first, but he's not. So I guess that means...
Just to be clear.
Yeah, I just want everybody to know Ron's the loser
nowadays, that right?
of last week.
Did we
Holy cow!
Holy cow!
Leave Ron Richards alone.
Leave Ron Richards alone.
All right, so this week I had to come out swinging, and I'm not sure if I came out swinging, but this is an app that I've had on my phone for a while, and I've thought it's pretty nifty. A lot of people kind of wonder, with I know with iOS devices, there's I think iMovie is actually on iOS devices, kind of a pretty simple video editor, pretty easy way of just grabbing a bunch of clips and putting them on a timeline and exporting some cut video. This is no Final Cut. I admit it right off the top. It's called WeVideo, and it's not a Final Cut necessarily. It's not a powerful video editor, but it does give you the ability to edit video and kind of put a soundtrack to it, put a title card in there, add some text to some of the pieces and all that. And I'll show you just real quick how you do that. So we have your layout. You can actually, add video, images, audio for adding music in there. There's also down here the style button. Go ahead and go in there, and this gives you a list of themes, different themes, and what these are. Obviously the themes have different, type of text. It has different filters, transitions between your clips. So you're really, you're painting with a big brush here. You're gonna have to play around with these to find one that you truly like. There isn't a whole lot of control right now for you to go in there and create transitions and everything. I don't think that's the kind of the point here. But I'm gonna go with Noir actually. That kind of looks nifty. When I create this video later, it will download the assets that are attached to this, and that doesn't take but maybe a few seconds. Noir might not be the right choice for the videos that I have on my phone, because I have a bunch of videos of my family. Maybe Noir is like the counterpoint to that. But I'll go ahead and drag this cute video of my daughter Savannah sleeping, and this cute video of my daughter Savannah sleeping, and here's a cute video of my daughter Savannah sleeping. She does a lot of sleeping. Go to images. Let's see here. I'm sure I can find an image that isn't just my kids. There's me with glass. I'll put it down here, and it pops in the timeline. I know that there's a really compromising image of me with my hair parted nerdily in the middle. I'll go ahead and put that there. So I have all my videos on the timeline, right? I can add a title here. It's downloading the theme resources. This will only take a second. So it's basically downloading like the music attached to it, the elements for the transitions, all that kind of stuff, as well as kind of the filter that it can put on top of your video. Now, once this is done, I'm hoping it finishes this last 1%, because apparently this is the last mile. There we go. It will allow me to do things like add a title. So let's add a title here. Family or GA. Okay, games. Okay, I'll just go with that. Doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Okay, so I have that. That's my title card, right? I can go into each of these video things and trim them down. So I'll trim the best little portion here. I'll make, pretty short clips here to make it obvious. If I wanted to, I could add a caption. I could adjust the volume, so I could take out all the volume if I wanted to. Now I can swipe left or right to get to the next clip in the thing. This is the picture of me wearing glass. I'll take that down to 3 seconds. I'm not going to add any captions here because I don't want to edit text. So here's another video. Go ahead and, sleeping. Yeah, something like that. Here's this wonderful picture of me fresh out of the shower, parting my hair in the middle like a nerd in Revenge of the Nerds. And then finally, my wonderful wife and my wonderful little daughter there. You guys are all like so sick of this at this point, I realize, but it's all I have on my phone. All right. It's all I take pictures of right now.
We're parents. We're cool.
All right, cool.
We're good.
All right. Everybody that's in the chat room, just understand that this is what will happen to you if and when you become a parent. Okay, so we've done the style, we've done the edit. Now we can actually play it, and it takes a little bit to kind of put it into play. And I have, let's see here. I think it renders a preview on the fly. So I'll go ahead and bring up the music. You should have music, Chad. No? Oh. See, so it kind of, okay, so Noir was totally not the right one to choose for family video. But it gives you a sense of kind of what you can do, right? It kind of has these different style of transitions. There I am, looking as nerdy as ever. And finally there. Yeah, so it's kind of, Sparkling Cyanide in the chat room says it's like a Zoe for HTC Zoe. And I guess it kind of is. One thing I would really like to see out of it is some sort of like random hodgepodge. So I could dump a bunch of clips in there and kind of say, all right, on these videos, I don't want to manually select the clip in them. I just want you to come up with something. And, it'll do it for you. So it's just a kind of a neat little way to put a bunch of video on a timeline and put it out. Now, what you saw was a preview. That doesn't mean that it's completely rendered. It actually takes a little bit of time to render after you're done. You can publish it to, they can host it on WeVideo, which is kind of a fully featured site for all of your videos. You can also share it or post it on YouTube, and you can share it to Facebook through the app. There's also this little option down here to save a local copy. So there you have it. It's WeVideo. It's free, completely free, and it's a video editor for your phone. I hope I've redeemed myself. And now we're going to switch gears. Phil, what do you have for us? I'll try and keep up.
I totally screwed this up. Somebody on Google Plus said, wow, you're just going to talk about the Android Central app. And I said, yes, I should. But instead, it's probably become the most indispensable app to me as I continue to travel more and more, and that is Expensify. For anyone who has to do expense reports, or even if you don't have to go that far, because you can attach your credit cards to this app. I haven't done that. All I have to do is just keep receipts and submit them at the end of the month, and that's all I have to do. And it's perfect for that because it's got a great scanning tool. You just scan your receipt. They use Amazon's Mechanical Turk who actually interpret the receipt. So it's not using a pure OCR, optical character recognition. And then it all imports into the website. So the app is one part of it, right? So this is the mobile part. And then you go to the website later and you take all these receipts and you just submit them, month by month or however often you need to. and it shoots off a PDF of the receipt as well as the translated, here's $50 you spent at this restaurant on this date. Shoots it all off to whomever you need to send it to, and you're done. It's really that simple. It's a couple bucks depending on how many scans you do. I forget what the exact pricing is. It's real cheap, though. You get 10 free a month, I believe it is. And it's that simple. You can annotate them, you can leave comments, and you just hit save. And it's the easiest way I found to keep track of all this stuff, because the last thing I want to do is really be bothered with it while I'm on the road. And this makes it so you don't even have to think about it. It's a no-brainer. You see, you've got mileage, all these features. And I don't even use most of them, but they're there. They've started incorporating flight information. So now I have I think 6 apps that tell me when my flight is leaving, to say nothing of Google Now. But all this stuff, and they're constantly improving it. It's changed UIs, not changed, but refined the user interface a couple times in the last few months. And this is the latest version. It is indispensable for me when I'm traveling, period.
Man, this is awesome. I hate filling out expense forms after the fact, after a trip, sitting down at my desk and taking a half an hour to file my receipts and go through them and enter them manually and everything. I would love, if anything, this is just a great way, like you said, to take all those receipts out of a pile that happens to be shoved into your wallet somewhere and just put them into one central place where you can do kind of the work in an easier way. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Expensify. And I saw you using this at an I.O. We went out to dinner and saw you using this, and I was like, I had it filed away in my head. I was like, that's something to check out for the future. So I'm happy you covered it, because you've been using it for a while. So it's Expensify. It's free. What is the pay portion of that? If you
get, I believe it's 10 free scans. You can scan 10 receipts for free. And then more than that, they start charging you. But it's really not much. I think it's like $2. For how many ever more. It's real cheap to do.
Excellent. Awesome. Expensify. I love it.
Yes.
All right. And Gina, I think I've heard of your app before. What are you covering today?
I think that you all covered this app in episode 3 of All About Android.
Oh, did we?
It's
maybe possible. Not 3, but I didn't check the list.
Yeah. In an early episode of All About Android, you brought up this app, which everybody knows has been around forever. In fact, I've been a member since 2004. But huge upgrade. Flickr, Yahoo, I should say, made a big announcement yesterday, and it wasn't just that $1 billion Tumblr purchase. Flickr got a huge upgrade. Complete redesign with the web app. Every user is getting a terabyte of space to store their photos for free. A terabyte. Now, remember when Gmail was like, you get this, 5 gig terabyte you're getting. And the Android app got a huge upgrade, and that is what I picked this week. It's the Flickr app for Android, which again you covered forever ago, but I'm bringing it up today.
Yeah, episode 28, by the way. I did not realize that it was the arena. That's hilarious.
Everything old is new again.
That's right.
Jason.
That's right.
This redesign was really, really nice. Like most of the Flickr community, I stopped using Flickr, I don't know, maybe 08, 09 at some point. But then when my daughter was born 8 months ago, I started using it again because I really, really like Flickr. They just got tons of tools for batch uploading photos. It's not just for mobile phones. It doesn't square off your photos like Instagram, and I trust it a little more than Facebook. So I've been using Flickr and really loving it. The new Android app is really, really cool. Much like the web app, it's focused very much on photos. You just get infinite scroll, full justified, high res photos. Really easy to just see your images. Not a lot of white space anywhere really. You get justified views everywhere. So you see really these grids of, so when you open the app, you basically see just this grid of all your contacts' photos. So it makes it really easy to see other people's photos. And you have all the other kind of pro tools that Flickr offers. You got sets and groups and collections and tags and comments. You can find your friends and add them as your friends on Flickr. Some people are saying that they don't love the redesign because it's so photo focused and less community focused. I like it because I go to Flickr to see photos. In the Android app, if you go to the camera, you'll see that there are a bunch of filters if you're into that sort of thing. And the photo editor also lets you enhance and crop. You can add text or retouch your photos to get them how you want to get them. And when you share to Flickr, if you take the time to kind of set up your contacts, it's a lot like Google Plus Circles, but just dead simple. It's friends, family, or contacts. So that works really well, especially if you've got kids. It makes it really easy to say this is family only, this is friends, and this is kind of for everyone. And the other thing that I really like about Flickr, and not to knock, like Instagram and other photo sharing apps, but there's so many upload tools and so many like professional photographers with giant real DSLR cameras upload photos there. You just see beautiful images, right? They're not just mobile phone photos. So it's a really nice place to find images. Of course, Flickr has Creative Commons. You can license your photos for reuse. You'll see in the app and also on the web app, there's kind of a cover photo similar to what you'll see at Facebook or Google Plus, and Flickr, I think, automatically chooses that. The only complaint I have, you get this 1 terabyte of space. Everybody gets that free. It's not possible to see how much of that you've actually used yet that I can find. I've uploaded almost 3,000 photos to Flickr over the years, and I'm still not entirely sure how much of my terabyte I've used. But otherwise, really huge upgrade. If you haven't looked at Flickr in a while, grab this upgrade, take a look. I think they did a really nice job with it.
Excellent.
And it's free.
Yeah, terabyte of free space really grabbed everybody's attention on that, especially.
Yes.
Worth noting, Google Plus Unlimited, but the size cap is there, right? It's unlimited if you're up to 2048, but if you're larger than that, then I think you have 15 total gigs along with all of your storage. So I think that the benefit of Flickr, and for the longest time this was the benefit of Flickr, is that it appealed to kind of not just the person taking random pictures all the time, but people who really curated their pictures and really took really nice pictures. So hosting a full-size image that might be larger than that 2048 makes maybe even a little more sense on a service like Flickr. So having a terabyte is great.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have like instant upload like you do with Google Plus, right? I mean, that's the thing with Flickr, is that people really do kind of curate and edit. This isn't a backup service. This is a photo community who's like really cares about aesthetics, and so I really like that. I know it's kind of old school, and I know it's been years and years. I'm kind of rooting for Flickr, and I was happy to hear this announcement. And I really like that they did this major upgrade on Android. Also, this app gives you notifications. If your contacts, you can configure notifications, but if your contact likes a photo or comments on a photo or sends you a contact request, that stuff all shows up in your notification shade as well.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. All right, Flickr. For those of you who have never heard of Flickr before, it's Flickr. There is no E between the K and the R.
We have like 11-year-olds watching the show. They're like, oh wow, this is something.
That comment totally solved somebody's problem. At least one person that heard that comment was like, oh, I don't know how I didn't know that. Excellent. So this week's picks, I got to say, they're all pretty awesome. WeVideo, Expensify, and Flickr. You can go to aaapoll.com/110. That's AAApoll.com/110. And let us know which is your favorite app this week. Early reports are in Flickr and WeVideo, with sharing about 17 votes. Flickr's on top, though, 53%. Hang
on. Wait, I got to vote.
Oh, yes. Panic. Excellent. Oh, they're about to pour in. Yeah, early returns never mean anything, I've noticed. So many times we're like, oh, that's totally going to win, and it's so not the case. So there we have it. I think that was a fantastic arena. I love all three apps. Next week, we have a gentleman that I met at I.O. While we were there, Daniel Bader of Mobile Syrup, and his Mobile Syrup is in Canada. So you Canadians are going to be stoked because we're bringing Canadian Android news to All About Android next week.
Hockey and donuts.
That's right. And
we apologize in advance.
Yes, exactly. We apologize. We're really sorry. We're really kind. And we're going to go ahead and bring some poutine in here. And I will eat it and everyone will be jealous. So super stoked to have Daniel on next week. But as for this week, that is it. Phil, we're always super stoked to have you on the show. Thanks for gracing us with your presence.
Thanks for letting me back.
Absolutely. Always love to have you on. This is your chance to kind of plug whatever you got going on. What's up in Phil Nickinson land?
Oh, man, I'm ready to go home. No, it feels like I've been on the road forever this year. No, so we're at CTI right now. Find me at androidcentral.com and all those good places.
Excellent. You're at Phil Nickinson on Twitter, and I imagine in Google Plus as well. It's pretty easy to find you there.
Google.com/+Phil Nickinson. I'm one of the special ones, apparently.
What? How did you? I'm so
I
jealous.
have no idea.
So jealous.
I don't know.
All right.
Modified.
Well, if you remember or if you find the answer, let me know. Thanks again, Phil. Gina, what you got going on?
Well, I built an Android app called To Do Text. You can check it out at todotxt.com and try it out on Android. Syncs with your Dropbox, your task list. You can get organized. I also work on an app called ThinkUp, and we just released a new build today along with a pushover plugin. For pushover is the app that won the arena for me this week. So
nice.
I built a pushover ThinkUp plugin so you can get push notifications for ThinkUp insights right on your phone. Check that out. You go to blog.thinkup.com to get the information about our last release. And I also co-host This Week in Google here on the Twit Network, and that's on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific. And I'm excited to be on tomorrow, although I don't know. We covered Google I.O. last week, so I don't know. I don't think we're going to talk about anything tomorrow. Nevertheless, I will be on at 1 p.m. Pacific with Leo and Jeff Jarvis and Chad tomorrow. So I hope you stop by.
This could be one of the only times every year where you're all about Android on Tuesday night and your This Week in Google on Wednesday morning aren't super overlapped.
Yeah, no, not a whole lot of overlap tomorrow. Although I don't know that there's been a whole lot of Google news in the past week that wasn't announced at I.O. So
True.
I don't know. We might just, I don't know. Who knows what we'll chat about? You never know what goes on Twig.
That's true. You never
it could be
know.
Anything. You never know.
You never know what you're going to get. You can find me at about.me/Jason Howell. Google Plus, I'm there. Jason Howell. My name is Jason Howell, so you can find me all over the place. Or yellowgoldmusic.com. I promise I have music coming. Having a newborn takes all of your free time away from you. This is why I really wanted to get it all done before we had our baby. So now I have to figure out how I finish it. But it's so close. So I promise it's coming soon. yellowgoldmusic.com. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for checking out the show once again. We loved having you along. You can leave us a voicemail at 347-SHOW-AAA. You can always leave us an email or a video mail if you attach a link to your email at aaa@twit.tv. You can find us on Twitter. We're at Android Show. We're in Google Plus. There's a community that's always hopping. And show notes can be found at twit.tv/AAA. You can also find past episodes there as well as in YouTube and in iTunes. Finally, you can catch us live every Tuesday starting at 5 p.m. Pacific at live.twit.tv. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week on another episode of All About Android. Yeah.
That was very peaceful.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, that was like reserved rubato.
It was.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
I can't believe it's taken me this many episodes to see you do that dance, Jason. What's up with that?
I save it.
On us.
I save it. I can't just throw that out all the time.
Things come to those who wait. That's it.